Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Thank you guys for subbing. Thank you for all the love. And I appreciate you stopping in for this short video today. I'm in my game room and I'm gonna spend a little time to show you guys 10 different things that you can do to your Mame cabinet or your Megacade. A lot of you guys are Megacade owners now, or you have been debating on purchasing one. And I have personally added 10 mods to my cabinet that I think will either add something a little aesthetically pleasing to the eye, or they will make your life a lot easier. So I will show you these 10 things, and all of them are purchasable together for under $100. So you don't have to break the bank. I'm going to show you guys all 10 of them right now. So without any further ado, let's dive into it. Item number 1, right underneath of the front of the playfield. Here we have the volume control that comes on the machine, but right back here you will see that I have a USB hub with 4 ports in it. I definitely think it's super important to have a USB hub that's easy to have access to, because if you use the light gun USB ports that are already mounted on the outside of the cabinet, you basically have to shut down your machine and restart it again to get your light guns to work properly. In this case, this USB hub will take a lot of that headache out of the equation, and you're probably wondering, why would you need one? From time to time, you're going to want to plug something in via USB. You're going to want to maybe save some game files, or you're going to want to save some high scores or something like that, which brings me automatically to item number 2, which is a flash drive. So I have a 64 gig flash drive here, and this is always plugged in. I always have it plugged into the USB hub because I just like to tinker with stuff. I'll go into the back end of my system, I will save game directories, I'll save high scores, you know, and if I get a hard drive update and perhaps one of my favorite games doesn't have the high scores and whatnot transferred to the new drive or the new update, I have some of my favorite games saved right here in this bad boy, and it's easier for me to transfer it. Let's move on to item number 3. Item number 3 is right here next to item number 1 and 2. Next to the USB hub, we have the Microsoft receiver that is basically the little antenna for your 360 controllers. This is like you plug this in via USB. I have this running inside the cabinet, plugged into a USB. The reason I read it outside was just because I figured, why not? It's easier to get to the sync button, and it's gonna have a better signal. It's not going through the cabinet. But do not think for one second that you need to mount it on the outside of the cabinet. I just did this because I'm anal about things and I like to mess around. So I want to make sure that if I ever do need to get to that sync button, I don't have to open anything up. And let's be honest, this thing is never going to be on location. It's never going to be played by people that I don't know. So I don't have any concern with the undercarriage of my machine and being exposed to the general public. So this dongle right here only costs about 20 or 30 bucks on eBay. I don't really need to put a link in the description here. I will be putting a link in the description for other things that I think are a little bit harder to find. But without any more hesitation, let's move on to item number 4. Here we are with item number 4. This is a plastic zip clip. Now let me show you how this works. We're going to push that clip. It's going to open up for us. See how you can open this, and then you can pull your light gun cable out away from it if that's what you want to do. I highly recommend that if you buy a machine with light guns in it, see, we're going to pop that cable back in, and then we're going to clip that back in there, and that holds that firmly in place. This is held on by double-sided tape on the back. But if you have light guns, you do not know the frustration of being in the middle of a game and actually like have someone walk through the room or accidentally kick and pull the USB plug out of this port right here, because you then have to reboot the entire machine. Now, I'm not going to say that's going to happen all the time, but it does happen pretty easily if you're not paying attention and, you know, you end up yanking on the cable too hard. Another thing I want to add is when I release this and I pop this out, you're gonna see that I have a screw back in there. I'll try and get in there so you can see it. I have screwed mine in the machine because I just don't want any mistakes. And I have actually gotten to the point where I've tugged on it so hard that the double-sided tape on the back has pulled off of the front. It usually holds pretty darn tight, but one time it just got yanked too hard. So that is item number 4. These clips can be found anywhere, Lowe's, Home Depot. They're super cheap, couple bucks. You can get a bag full of them, but that's what they look like right there. So let's move on to item number 5. Item number 5, also underneath of the main playfield. I have this on both sides for both of my light guns. It is, let me turn it horizontal, no, that's not gonna help you. There we go. This is a black mesh canister that I use to hang on to all of my light gun cabling, because if you don't have anything holding it, it kind of dangles on the ground. You got to remember to like twist it up with a twist tie. It's fine if you're okay with that. I'm just quite a bit more anal with my stuff, so what I do is I pull this cable out, and you can see I have it held on with a large washer and a screw. I just have it screwed to the machine. This was bought at Walmart. This is actually just a pencil holder that had some sections inside of it. I took some needle nose pliers and broke the sections out inside, and it is the perfect little canister to hold the cables for the light gun. You just coil them up right here and then stuff them in here when you're done, and it holds it perfectly. That's actually one of my favorite little additions that I have made to this machine. And super cheap. I think they're about $5 a piece. So a little American ingenuity and you have yourself a cable holder that looks super dope. Let's move on to number 6. Boom. Mod number 6. I actually just did this a couple of weeks ago, maybe about a week ago. I have mounted my 4 Xbox 360 wireless controllers underneath. See, here's the play field, and then underneath you can see all the controllers nicely hanging. I will put the link in the description as to where you can purchase these controller holders. I actually used the double-sided, like it comes with an adhesive backing on these little pads, so you didn't have to drill into the cabinet. But truth be told, I probably would have just drilled into the cabinet and screwed them there, because I'm always going to have wireless controllers. And I just got sick of worrying about them getting knocked off of the playfield, which actually has happened a few times. Matter of fact, my right R1 button, shoulder button here, doesn't click anymore because one of my buddies knocked it off when we were hanging out, and he broke the button. However, these things are only about 14 bucks. I got a pack of 4. You can bend them and shape them to the size of your controller. They hold like 30 pounds, so there's no concern with whether or not they're going to hold your controllers. It was a super good buy. I'm happy with it. And I highly recommend cleaning up the undercarriage of your Megacade the way that I have with these first 6 items. Let's move on to item number 7. Item number 7 is going to be on our playfield. I know I've addressed this before in a previous video, but I just can't remember where and when. But a lot of you are having your machines built, or you're making them yourselves with a spinner knob. You can see mine right here. That is my spinner knob. However, it used to be right here. Now I ordered this blank black cap to plug off this hole where my spinner knob used to be. And the reason why is because you see where this spinner used to be, and if you play a lot of Golden Tee or bowling games or whatever, and you're afraid of the spinner knob being in front of your hand travel, let me tell you 100%, it will be. So my biggest piece of advice to anyone having a Megacade being built or ordered at this time, move your spinner knob over. It honestly doesn't need to be right here. And I found myself and many other people just jamming our fingers into this little plastic cap. If you already have a machine and you want to move the spinner knob, I think I found this for about 98 cents on eBay. I'm trying not to get the light glare in there. It just plugged the hole, super easy. I was able to move it over, drill a hole, and mount the spinner knob back under further away so that it didn't interfere with any hand travel. And I highly recommend it. So ordering one, already own one. That's what's up. Let's move on to item number 8. Here we are. Item number 8 is a Logitech wireless keyboard. It is the K400R. The reason I recommend this one is because first off, it's super cheap. It does the job, and it has a mouse pad with mouse buttons on it. Once you turn this on, which is by turning this little switch right there, sorry, I'm trying not to go out of focus, it has a little wireless dongle that, you guessed it, I have plugged in on my USB hub. Right here is the wireless dongle for the keyboard. So if I ever need to get into the back of the computer, albeit very rarely, this keyboard makes things a lot easier. And if you need to type or whatever, like I said, you don't really need this, but for 16 or 17 bucks, and I will put the link in the description, it's an easy buy, it's a no-brainer. Once in a great while, you might need it, but for the most part, these games are meant to run on arcade controls the way God intended it. So there we have item number 8 is your wireless keyboard, and we will move on to item number 9. Item number 9 requires me to open up the back of my Megacade, get inside here and show you. I know I've mentioned this before too, but let's just cover it. This plug right here is plugged into my 18 feet, okay, here we go, 18 feet of cool white LED tape lighting, which as you can see, I have drilled a hole out of the bottom of the cabinet, and it also is on the other side of the inside of the machine. So it drills a hole at the bottom of the cabinet, goes underneath towards the front of the cabinet, and pops out where you see here on the floor, on the front, and then runs back around to the back, and then provides some additional lighting inside the cabinet. So for about 15 bucks, you can get 18 feet of white LED tape lighting. You can also get color changing lighting and all that stuff, but I didn't want it to change colors. I just wanted it to be white. So I know I got a lot going on in here because I got my Golden Tee and all that other there. This is a different modification that you can watch my other video on the Golden Tee 2018 and how I put it in. For now, we're focusing on tape lighting and other cheap modifications. You can have Extreme Home Arcades add it for you, but in my case, I knew I could do it myself, so there you have it. And that is wrapping it up for item number 9. Let's look at mod number 10. All right, up top on the machine for item number 10, I apologize for the dust, but we can see right here, and I'm gonna turn the light on, one power button. It looks like it's just a standard HAP arcade button, no big deal. My problem is you see, I have to back it into this corner, so it's butted up against my MK2 machine, which makes it extremely hard to get in from one side. So what I did was I drilled a hole and I added a second power button on this side. Man, it is dusty up here. All right. So instead of me having to get up on a chair or reach way out of my reach to try and turn the machine on, some of you are going to face this. You're going to have a button on one side, you're going to slide it into a corner, and it's going to be a whole hell of a lot easier to have it on the side that faces out away from the wall. And what I did, I believe it's I want to say an 1.25 inch hole or 1.5 inch paddle bit, and I will show you what I did inside the machine to do that. You can see up right here, there is the original power button with the original power cables. All I did was sneak a piece of speaker wire in there, jump it off of the same two terminals, run it over to this side, and then add it to my own micro switch and button. So there you have it. That is 10, let me turn this flash off. That is 10 super easy, simple modifications that you can do to your Megacade or Mame machine that'll be under $100. And I guess if I want to add an 11th one, you can see my Golden Tee swing guide that I had made. My brother is a graphic designer, so this is a swing guide that I use because we play a whole lot of Golden Tee on this machine, and you get the picture. 10 items, under $100. And you guys watching. That's it for the video today. Please subscribe, ring the bell, and I'll let you know when I'm going live, all that good stuff. Thanks for the support. We'll see you next time.